Hi, I'm Kitty and welcome to my SMITE tutorial series for new players / beginners. Alright, so before we do anything in the game, I would like to explain to you a few things that are really good knowing beforehand. Let's start with down here. These are the settings. This whole tutorial is shown on PC, but it should be the same or a similar way to get to the settings on console, since the layouts have been streamlined to make it easy to transition between different platforms. Alright, so the first thing to do is to check the video tab and to make sure that all your settings are set to whatever you like, and so that your game's performance is working smoothly, depending on if you want to just play or if you're gonna be a content creator, etc, etc. There's not much you're gonna have to touch down here unless you want to use these kind of settings, but basically just pick what is most comfortable for you. Feel free to just try some things out and see how your game is gonna run. SMITE does generally not take a lot of resources, but you obviously can go pretty high up if you want to. The audio tab is something you're most likely gonna have to change a few things on. I'm specifically recommending changing the notification volume in case you are in a queue and you are tapped out of SMITE, so you don't get scared to freaking death when an extremely loud notification of your match being ready jumps out at you out of nowhere. I would pretty much recommend turning this down to about half, and then adjusting the rest as you want. You can turn the music volume off completely. I personally turned it off because I like to add music for videos I record in editing. So if you want to do that, or if you want to listen to your own music, you can just turn this down. If not, just turn it to whatever kind of percentage that you want. Either way, or what is handy to know is that there is an in-game voice chat that you can turn on and off here. It is really good and also really handy. The audio quality is very, very excellent. And you can change all the stuff you want here according to your platform and likings. This is especially useful if you are playing with people on console, for example via Crossplay, or if you're just playing with friends who are on the same console as you, period, because you won't have to use Discord, meaning you don't have to use your phones and deal with, well, sort of kind of audio quality or sentences being cut off, which is a problem I've encountered a lot, because people usually, or Discord usually cuts you off before you're done saying something based on the sensitivity it's set to. So this is really, really helpful. If you are on computer, you can obviously just use Discord, which can help in case the game crashes. It happens sometimes, so obviously if you close SMITE, the voice chat is gonna close down too, just to keep that in mind. There are a few things that you should probably change on the user interface. For example, showing your health, which can be extremely critical when you're playing, because it can be very hard to look at the bottom of your screen. I'm going to show you what that looks like later, so I would suggest turning this on. You can obviously use colorblind settings for obvious reasons if you need them. And other than that, I would pretty much suggest that you have all these settings turned on the way I do. It's pretty beginner friendly. You can obviously turn these two on while you are still new. I turned those off. This is literally the only thing I turned off because I'm like, yeah, okay, game, I already know where everything is. Thank you anyway. And it's just kind of, it's almost a bit enough an OCD thing for me. But obviously, if you're new, help tips and map guides can be useful. In terms of nameplates, you can do whatever the hell you want. I've personally set it to god names because it's easier for people who watch my videos if I'm talking about a specific god so they know who I'm talking about. Otherwise, the standard is that it just shows the player name, but that's not really interesting for me or the people who watch my content, so I put it to god names, but you do whatever you would like to do. If you want to enable crossplay, you can do that here. It just means that you will be queued with people from other platforms, which means there are more people who play, which in the end also means that you're gonna be able to find queues and matches easier, and it's just pretty fun, honestly. I would also suggest that you turn the profanity filter off. It sometimes is turned to on, which is understandable given this is a game for teens. They're trying to protect the younger audience. So if you're 18 or above, or if you just don't care for the profanity filter, just turn this off. Streamer mode is basically if you are a content creator or a streamer and you want to anonymize your name and other people's names so you can't be stream sniped, etc, etc. If you're new to Smite, you don't have to really worry about that. This is just kind of interesting to know in case you decide at some point that you want to stream or make videos. Other than that, this is pretty much all you need to do here. Like I said, it's just easiest to copy my settings. Obviously minus these two things, which is probably useful. Though some of these tips can maybe be a little confusing if you don't know everything just yet, but you can turn them on if you want, or you can just keep watching my tutorials and have me explain stuff. Alright, controls. This is pretty much just for, well, if you want to put your sensitivity and stuff up. So you can set this to whatever you want. I personally didn't have to change much of anything here. So targeting. This is pretty important because it's gonna show you when you're using an ability. It's gonna show you a bit of a preview in terms of a little transparent looking model. I personally set it to high contrast because it's a little harder to see if you don't. So I would suggest changing this at least. And as for the rest, you can turn it to whatever you want, whatever helps you most. In the beginning, bracket highlighting is pretty decent. The high contrast, and if you want, you can use a distance line that shows you how far your abilities go, so that can help. If it's too confusing, just leave the distance line off and have the rest on at least high contrast, so it's a bit easier to see. You don't have to touch Spectator if you're new. This is mostly for professional coaches or professional teams, or if you're just watching other people play games in here, which is probably not gonna be for a while, so don't have to touch this. But the key bindings might be interesting for you if you want to change anything from the standard. The only thing I personally changed is down here, what we call the T screen, the top player stats. I sometimes accidentally kind of fat fingered and pressed T on accident, which meant I had a little window that is semi-transparent in front of, well, covering everything up basically. Like I said, it's semi-transparent, but it was still annoying enough for me to get kind of distracted, so I put it to P. So if you're on computer, it's worth a thought maybe. And if you're on console, I'm not sure what button it is on console, but you can reset it to something else as much as you can reset any of these things to something else. I wouldn't mess with the VDS system too much, so, but everything else, you do what you want, what feels most comfortable to you. That's pretty much it for the settings. I'm gonna quickly go through these other icons down here while we're at it. There's notifications, so if you unlock something, if you get an achievement, if there's a party, friend request, anything, you're gonna find it here. this is your friend list, where you can add friends by typing in their name in the search field, or access the people who are already on your friend list, where you can invite people to party, whisper, make a note about them, view their profile, spectate, which is what I got into really quickly earlier, or block if somebody's being a douche. The reward center is basically where all the chests and things that you earn or receive go. You can scroll through the ones you have here, and then obviously claim them, and you can also see how many you have, etc. Last but not least, there is a quest center here. You're gonna get quests every once in a while, which, as you see down here, every 2 successful quests earn a bonus reward of 500 favor, which is the in-game currency that is located up here, and will let you buy certain things such as new gods, etc, etc. Speaking of new gods, I will pretty much go through that later. Right now I'm mostly sticking to a few basics here so you know what's going on. Our net down here is pretty simple. The chat, you're probably not gonna have to clan chat if you're new, but if there are any other chat, like if you get into a game, there's gonna be a lobby chat, etc, down here. The only other thing that is important to know from here, from your home screen basically, is that in the store, every day you can get a login reward, which is not showing right now for me because I already got it, and it basically gives you extra favor, which again is to unlock new gods, and it also gives you gems, which is mostly to buy cosmetic items, which you can see the categories of up here: skins, chests, etc. If you don't care much for the gems, that's fine, but the favor is pretty useful as long as you don't have the god pack. The god pack is something I bought, which basically allows you to unlock all the current gods and any of the ones that are coming out in the future. It's basically a one-time payment, and it will give you access to all of the gods. If you don't have that, gods usually cost around 5,500 favor. Per game, you generally get anywhere between 100 and 300 favor, depending on whether you have played a certain mode during that day yet or not. So just so you can get a good idea. And if you've seen here, completing 2 quests gives you 500 favor, which is just something to keep in mind. A little thing up here still, so this is to make your party. You can just click here, you can add people that are currently free to your party, and then you can queue for whatever modes you want to play. The only thing to watch out for is that it says here for each mode, it says here how many people can play this mode, or how many people maximum. So make sure that you are sizing your party accordingly, because there are modes where you can only play with 3 people, there are modes where you can play with 4 people, obviously with 5. Same goes with all the other modes. So just keep that in mind when you're making a party. That's pretty much it for the quick overlook. The only thing I want to mention is up here, this is your level. I'm currently maxed out at 160. They will most likely raise the cap again in the future, but right now 160 is, well, the maximum. The only thing the levels do, or the most thing the levels do, is you can unlock special rewards at specific level milestones, and if you want to play certain modes here or here, you are gonna have to have a certain minimum level. so this is just good to know. I will quickly show you how you can equip things that you get, because you will definitely unlock a few cosmetic items for free as you level up. So you would just click here onto the avatar, and it brings up this window where you can pick your your avatars, your loading frame, etc. This all looks quite confusing now and overwhelming, but I'm just showing this to you just so you know where it is, because as I said, you will be unlocking free cosmetics as you level up your account by playing, obviously, and getting experience, just so you know where everything is.